everyone. So great to see you today. It's Noelle. I'm here to do Lovefluencer training. We'll see how it goes. I hear a couple crying children who are supposed to be sleeping, so we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. But as you all know, I will just vacate my live if I have to, and we'll just start again. So it is wonderful to see you all, really excited to be another Thursday. Here we are, a week has gone by. So hopefully you have done something in the direction of the life that you want this week. And if you haven't, good news, it's not too late. You still have one more day left. So right now, if you don't know, I started a company all about personal and professional branding called Lovefluencers. And the reason I did this was because as a minority in tech, being invited to stages has been amazing. But I find that there's not many people that look like me or really that look different than the average demographic of people in technology. I'm not judging. I just want to change it. I want to increase the voices that we have in all areas, in all thought leadership areas. And so hopefully if you're listening to this, that's something interesting and you want to maybe learn more about. I personally also just like the idea of an influencer who is less concerned about the numbers, less concerned about the number of followers and the number of likes and the number of shares, like less concerned about the machine that is social media and more interested in leveraging kindness and empathy and compassion to push a message that needs to be heard to more people, to encourage and inspire people who maybe feel like their voices don't need to be heard or aren't important enough to be heard, right? The more we do what we do, the more we stand up, the more we do lives, the more we put videos on YouTube or record podcasts, the more people will look at that and go, I could do that. I could do that. And so I encourage you, no matter what level you are at, just begin, put one foot in front of the next and keep moving forward. And so this podcast and webinar and video series and soon to be book, by the way, well, all revolves around some core practices I've put together based on my career. Now I've built, I'd say a relatively successful career in tech. And I learned early on the benefit of crafting my own story. And so I'm really going to reiterate a little bit about what we talked about last time and make sure that you are all kind of on the same page with me when it comes to crafting your own story, understanding what it takes to build your story, what your story is. And we actually have lots of them so that when you go to the video or you go to a podcast or you write a blog, you know how to represent that story in a way that's engaging and captivating to your audience. So now is about that time when I go into my browser and make sure that people can hear me, see me, talk to me. So if you can hear me, see me, or hear the sound of my voice, now's your chance to give me some hearts or likes or high fives or, hey, I can hear you. My mom was nice enough to give me that. I think it was last week or the week before, so that's awesome. So thank you so much. We are live on multiple channels. And last week I got the question, like, how are you doing that? So I use a platform called Social Live, and it allows me to go live on Facebook, not only on my page, which is Noelle Silver, but also within my group, which is the Lovefluencers Bootcamp. And thank you, Oscar and Christy. You guys are awesome. I'm so proud, actually. Oscar got his domain name. That was our homework for last week, so good for you. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but this is amazing. So great to see you all. So thank you, and I'm glad you can hear me. Trishala, great to have you here as well. This is amazing. So good. Okay. So I will keep checking in on the comments, but obviously I can't talk to you and check the comments and answer questions quite exactly at the same time. So just forgive me as we go through that a little bit, but totally worth it. I have a couple amazing video ideas for you that you can start taking away, and I'm actually going to start implementing next week, and you can be part of it. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that as well. Okay, so back to the story. Now that we know this is working, I should tell you, little tiny side note. I have done lives, 12 minutes, no audio, never checked, ended it. Like I looked and sounded like I knew what I was doing, but no one heard me. So this is why I take a little bit of time somewhere in the first few minutes to just dive over and see, make sure that I am actually working on all fronts. You know, technology. Hey, last week, I think I had 3 or 4 fails before I got it going. Anyway, okay, so backstory. So we're going to tonight talk about video and how to use video to promote your brand, your message, what you want to get out into the world. But all of the things, blogging, podcasting, and video all require you to have an understanding of how to create a story that leads people to listen to the thing you have to say. Oftentimes, things that I have to say are not necessarily pleasant, or maybe it's like, you know, it's hard work and you have to do these things. It's kind of like my kids and me telling them, like, eat your vegetables. A lot of the content we have to share with the world is kind of like the vegetables, the stuff people need, the nutrients they need. But they don't necessarily want it. So our story allows us to set it up so we might give them kind of a little bit of dessert first, right? Something fun, something engaging. A friend or colleague of mine uses this term, hook, story, offer. Or basically we need to do something that engages people and gets them right away. And then we need to create the story. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then we should, the very next logical step is tell them how you can help them and offer them something. That something may not be a sale. It might be offering them a community like Lovefluencers and like our bootcamp, which is 100% free. Or it might be an opportunity to join your mailing list. All things that, like, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's a thing you sell, though that is often the case with an offer that you would say, hey, I've got a $49 course if you want to see how I solve this specific problem. So let's talk for just a minute about this story. It's very classic, a story arc. I have a lot of people who follow me that are in the media business, in the media industry, so they understand this better than most, that you need to have a story arc, or what we often call like the hero's journey. And the good news is everyone here has one, especially if you are in a spot in your life where you are on a computer or on a mobile phone that's smart enough to watch my live stream or listen to me live. So that being said, we are in a good spot. No matter how bad things are, we're in a good spot to be able to listen to me right now. So one thing about the hero's journey is that it often starts with what you wanted, like your desire, your goal. You know, oftentimes I think about, and I have so many of these stories, but one story is like when I first got into tech and I started teaching, I wanted to be the very best teacher, instructor of object-oriented programming at IBM. I wanted to be the best. I would do whatever it took. And I kind of like made that decision. And so with a hero's journey, you make a goal, you figure out like, what is the thing you want, and then the hero, right, trots down the trail towards their journey. And then they immediately, or maybe it takes a minute, they get some success, but then they hit a wall, right? Conflict, dream squashers. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like sometimes someone comes in and goes, yeah, no, you're not going to do that. That's not for you to do. You're not smart enough for that, pretty enough, thin enough, whatever. Okay, maybe I'm telling you too much about my own story. But at some point, someone or something will stand in your way. And this is an important, incredible part of your journey because it's when you personally had your epiphany, right? It's when you got to a certain point, hit a wall, and eventually you had to decide, how am I going to do this? Regardless of what people said or regardless of what wall you hit, you had to come through to get to a point where you're like, I figured something out and I want to share it with the world. And so Lovefluencers are those people who have figured something out and they want to share it with the world. So good news is, right, most of us, I have at least 100 of these. And so what I started doing is I literally started writing them down. I call it my story inventory. And they could be the tiniest thing. For example, when my son was 2 months old, the one with Down syndrome, Max, when he was 2 months old, maybe 3, maybe 6. Anyway, really young, I went to Target for the first time after he was born, and he was my first child. And I remember going into Target and seeing other women with their healthy, normally developing, giggling babies, and mine was different. And I remember being angry. like, like that's not fair that my only son can't, won't, might not do the things that these women walk around like there's either they're upset or, like, what do you have to be upset about? And I remember going through that process, and now I wrote that story in my inventory. I don't exactly know, like I kind of have an idea of how I overcame it, but that's something I could work on. That's an arc I can craft and then lead it to why I ended up using the exact same things I did with my son who had Down syndrome to teach him his first language, which was sign language, to teach him vocabulary. I use those same skills on my typically developing children, and all of them have incredible vocabularies as a result. So again, that's just an example, but we go through these things all the time. We have a vision of the life that we want. A dream squasher or circumstance comes in and flattens us or puts us in the dirt. And then we get up and then we do something to achieve that goal anyway. Even the smallest example is hugely inspiring to the people that are still in the dirt. And that's kind of what we're here for, right? Like as Lovefluencers, we care more about telling someone the truth and giving them hope about the outcome than we do about the sale or the offer or any of that. And so I do, though, believe that telling your story, it is a bit of an art and a science. I've given you the steps, right? Identify a time in your life when you wanted something, and then follow that path to when you got your first conflict, and then how'd you get over it? And that's your backstory. That's the first 2 minutes of your podcast. That's 20 minutes of a webinar, right? Maybe it's a 2-hour portion of a 6-week boot camp. So you have the ability to tell the story in varying levels of granularity. But the important thing is that we have lots of these stories. So we get to tell different ones all the time. And as soon as you begin to, it's like this thing called the reticular activation system, right? It's that pattern. I've talked to you guys about it before when you go in and you buy a car and you think, oh my gosh, I remember doing this. I got a white Murano when Muranos were brand new, Nissan Muranos. Oh my gosh, when I only had 2 children and we all fit. It was awesome. I loved it. And I thought I was unique. I thought I had the only one I had ever seen was in that dealership. I roll off the lot. I saw 3 or 4 that day because my reticular activation system kicked in and went, oh, you care about that. Now I'll let you pay attention to it. We get so many signals. And so what we get to do with our stories is help people see new opportunity, new ways of seeing an outcome. And the more we can do that, the more we can share it, the more ways that we can share it, the more people will actually have their reticular activation systems keyed in, right, and turned on. They'll start to see opportunity where before they were like, it's not even worth getting out of bed. But now, because they see through our eyes and our experience, that story starts to change. And it is incredible. So I think it's really important to start honing that skill. And one way you can do it, if you like it, is through video. So the rest of today, I'm going to focus on video. I'm just going to check back in with my Facebook peeps and make sure you are all okay and doing good. You are great. Awesome. And my LinkedIn friends. Hi, you all. You guys are doing great too. So good to see you today. It is amazing. I love my friends on all my platforms, and they're all different types of friends, right? From different parts of my life, which is part of what I'd encourage you to do. Like, there is no right answer to the development of your network. And that's why it's really nice when we have these platforms that allow us to talk to all of our networks. Because my friends and family, not blood family, but Twitter family or TikTok family, like, they're all different types of people depending on where I was in my life or where I am in my life when I'm communicating to those platforms. But there are some times when you want to talk to everybody. And this is an example of that. So I'm really quickly just going to check 4 questions just to make sure, and I have it available. So great. Thank you all for joining in. This is really cool. So Benito and Weil is here. Awesome. And hopefully my internet connectivity is better than last week. Sergey, I think you are. Your subconscious just had an epiphany, right? And Alicia, oh, so good to see you. Oh, you guys are so amazing. Okay, so one question, Michael Hobbs just came in. So good to see you. It's actually Voice Summit right now, and that's where we met, I think, a year ago. So Michael, nice to see you on here. I am using Livestream, or Social Live, Social Live. And Social Live allows me to go live on as many platforms as I want, but I am using it to go live on LinkedIn. At the same time, I'm going live on 2 channels on Facebook, my group, as well as my page on YouTube. Hi, YouTube friends, on LinkedIn Live and Twitch. And I think that's it. If I get up to it, excuse me, I will set up my Amazon Live because I just became an Amazon influencer. So that's kind of cool. But I will reply to this so you can see it. It's called Social Live. Oh, goodness. L is the same, live.us. So there you go. All right, cool. So let's get down to business and start talking about, and I'm going to do a little bit of live demos because I have an amazing inspirational story to share with you, and it's not mine. It's really cool. So I did make some notes because last week I felt like I was a little bit all over the place, and you all are my guinea pigs. This program is actually being recorded and edited into a program I will eventually let just people go through asynchronously. But some nights I have notes and sometimes I don't. And so I hope I am a good example to you. Like I don't get all made up and, sometimes I put a little water on my hair so it's not so frizzy. But other than that, like this is me raw. Like my kids see me like this. The postman sees me like this. The dentist sees me like this. So it's not like, I hope you don't get caught up in like, oh, I have to look a certain way in order to get on video. Believe me, your message and your voice is so much, and I don't mean verbal voice, what you have to say is so much more important than what you look like. And you won't know that I'm telling you the truth until you do it. So try it and then tell me. Okay, so sharing your truth with video is our first step. And what I want to do is talk to you first about YouTube. This is probably the most important thing I will share with you today, which is YouTube. I don't know. I've had judgment about it. I'm like, I've done YouTube videos. I put almost everything that I do on YouTube for posterity. But there's a really key reason why. And I would encourage you today to set a goal of doing a 5 to 10 minute video on YouTube every week about the thing you care about or things you care about. Here's why. YouTube acts as it is part of a search engine. It shows up in Google search results. It's not like TikTok or even Instagram where it kind of lives in a feed. It is part of a search engine network that the entire planet uses. I won't get into too much more detail than that, but it is incredibly powerful. So let's say 2 years from now, someone does a search on Lovefluencers, which is this amazing, crazy brand. They'll happen upon content that I did 2 years before. Or if they're looking for branding or professional branding or anything, they could do that search 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and it'll be there. Instagram, not as if you go and look at it, it's not meant to be that way. It's not part of a search engine for people to discover and find information and results. So I would encourage you, even if you are not a big fan of YouTube, and by the way, you do not have to use your face. You could just create a couple slides on PowerPoint and use your voice over PowerPoint. And guess what? If you don't like your voice, there are now models, artificial intelligent models, that you can use to just let Alexa's voice speak for you, or build your own voice and let it speak for you. So there really is no excuse anymore. You can't be like, oh, I don't really like to get on camera. Okay, don't get on camera. You could still do a YouTube video. I don't really like my voice. That's okay, right? You could have a computer read that for you. It's just so important to start getting your brand, your name, and your message out there, because literally people who haven't even searched for it yet will thank you. Such a big deal. The other really important thing that is useful about YouTube is they have a metric that allows you to see the most engaging points within your video. This is gold. All right, are you ready for this? This like changed my life when I heard it. When you create a video, you post it on YouTube, and you might say to yourself, no one's ever gonna watch it. The reality is it's in a search engine, someone will eventually watch it, and a few people, not a lot, but as soon as one person, 10 people, 20 people watch it, those people are going to indicate through their attention what they like about your video. They stay for the first 1 minute, they stay for the first 3 minutes, they drop off at minute 2, they drop off at minute 2, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. What you get to do, and what often happens, is you'll see drop-offs, like you'll see kind of this roller coaster. With YouTube, you can actually go in and create clips. You can do this on Facebook too. You can identify areas of engagement where people were the most engaged and most interested in what you were saying, make clips of that, and guess what? That's what you go put on LinkedIn. That's what you put on TikTok. That's what you put in Instagram or Instagram Reels. So you have this metric, and there's a bunch of other metrics too, but this one is gold. It allows you to now proliferate the right content where you have a data-driven approach to, oh my goodness, someone liked this little thing I said. Let me cut that little piece and create and send it across my social platforms. So this is so good because sometimes we create content we have no idea, right? It's called the spaghetti model. We just throw it up against the wall and hope it sticks. And that's not necessarily the right way to go, especially if we don't have to. Let's throw it up against the YouTube wall and let our listeners, let our audience, let our 5 users at least start to tell us what to build, right? Tell us what to continue to share across our other platforms. So hopefully you found that helpful. Here is another inspirational tip. I have a child. I have 4 children, as most of you know. And I'm going to try and see if I can share my screen right now. And I'm going to show you my son's YouTube channel. So here it is. This is their YouTube channel. They created a YouTube channel. They are 14 and 13 years old. They leveraged a very simple app. You can do exactly what they have done inside, get this, Microsoft Paint 3D. However, they also used, I think it was called KineMaster, K-I-N-E Master, for editing the video. They did it 100% on their cell phone, and they don't have Mac Daddy amazing cell phones, right? They have what we as their parents chose to give them. But look at this, and they're ecstatic, right? They've got 186 views of this, 175 views. They just did. But look at how their page even looks. It's really impressive. For them, here is the kicker, or why they did it. They had something to say, and they had a few people they wanted to say it to. And now who knows where this is going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. But because it's on YouTube, they have the ability, this will live potentially forever, right? This will be things that they can be, and they're very proud of the work that they've done here. It's literally done like a morning show. Feel free to go take a look at it. It's Mornings with Michael. My son is Ben. But I just want to show you because it's inspirational to me to see kids, and they didn't know. You know what they did? They learned. They were like, I want to do this, so I'm going to look it up. And guess what they did? They looked it up on YouTube, and they followed YouTube videos. And so I just want to inspire you a little bit that anyone can do this. They are not inherently technical or artistic or anything. I mean, I do think they're pretty funny. And I do think that that's something that must come natural because they don't get it from me. But really amazing. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen because hopefully you can. So thank you. Okay. Anyway, oh, good. Hi. Okay. So now I'm looking at myself. It's like Inception. Anyway, back to the Social Life portal where I will head back to my face. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that is YouTube. It's important. It does not have to look amazing. Oh, I guess I should have probably showed you my own YouTube channel as well. I would look at every time you do something, which is something I will tell you right now. Every time you talk, either in a live, on a podcast, when you're even mentoring someone, what I always do is I go into my phone. And I don't know if you know, in the new phone, you could drop down this bar and there's this little option down here for voice. Oh, that's recording the screen. I don't want to do that. For a voice memo. It's got this little like voice signal thing. And so now you could just hit record. And now everything you say, I don't know about you, but I sometimes say things, I'm like, that's pretty good. I hope I wrote that down. And I didn't. So this gives you the ability to capture what you're doing on YouTube in audio format without having to go in and split up the audio in some kind of tool. So this is a really good way to go. Sometimes it does eat up your memory on your phone. So just depends on the length of your content. Speaking of length, I won't go much longer. I do just have a couple more things I want to share with you about video. So I just shared with you gold. If you walk away with nothing else, post a video once a week on YouTube about your passion, about your project, about your message, and then use that metric to identify the right thing to post everywhere else. Once you have that video, you can download it. You can transcribe it, which I encourage you to do for accessibility reasons. But then you can create a blog post off of the text of that transcription with relatively little effort. Again, another mechanism for you to get your work out into the world. I use Otter. Thanks to my buddy Jim Martin for introducing me to that. They do 600 minutes for free. I ended up buying a package anyway. And then I also have used rev.com. Both are amazing. Both are instantaneous. Both do a really good job of transcribing my speaking. And it even does transcription if multiple people are speaking, and it identifies speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. So it's really cool. Okay, next, TikTok. Oh, I got to share my screen for this one. All right, let's go and take a look at TikTok really quickly. I'm going to send my screen to live as soon as it looks good. There we go. Let's go look at Noelle's TikTok account. There I am. So my TikTok, I'm going to go to view my profile. I'm going to show you a couple things that I would encourage you to do. And I just posted a video today, which is my new arrival of my MVP award that I got for being an MVP in AI for Microsoft. It's amazing. And some of you will recognize some of this content. But one thing I want to just show you is a little bit about the consistency. So I also, though, want to scroll way down to the bottom. Don't be alarmed by how many videos I have. They're only 15 seconds a piece. So all net in, it's not that many hours. But I want to show you the beginning of my journey. And a lot of people are like, you could delete those, right? And I want you to know, yeah, of course I could delete them. But then how could I tell you this story? So at the beginning, when I first started, this was my very first TikTok video. Oh my goodness, right? And this, I don't know if it shows the date. Oh yeah, there it is. So 2018, interesting. So that's how it started. And it was kind of tongue in cheek, no problem. Then I did this like 4 a.m. video about how do I just manage to keep my energy up. Then my daughter lost her tooth. And then my 2 kids were talking about Peppa Pig, which was adorable. Then I started posting some stuff about my conferences, but you'll notice like my views weren't very big. But that's the beauty of being a Lovefluencer, is I actually didn't care. I was doing it for me to hone my own voice, but then also doing it for the very few people I thought it might matter to. But it started to get better. I started to do some stuff on Alexa. But even then, like all of these are just not awesome. But now you start to see, I start getting an idea. And these ideas only came from me practicing. So I started to practice and I was like, oh, what if I created a series on Alexa? And you could see my numbers instantly shot up. Now I'm getting 1,400 views. Then I started not talking about Alexa and my views went down. But notice they're way more than they were before, right? They're triple than what they were before. So now I start thinking about building series. Look, I'm crying. Don't look at that one. It's so sad. But I start thinking, ooh, maybe I could do a series on technology, like the HoloLens and Bose. And I start to get some traction, but it's all just testing. I'm testing 15-second videos to see what people like. Now, once I got the hang of it, you'll start to see like they all start to look the same, right? With this little, and this is proven to work. You create kind of a set of series. So I have a Women in AI series. I have a, let's see if I can show you a few. I have an AI in Action series. I have an AI Tip of the Day series. I have an Alexa Easter egg series. And then I just do some fun things. Like I'll show you one where I do this thing with my daughter and we're doing I don't know if you've ever seen Cups and what was that movie? Pitch Perfect, right? Where she sings this cup. So we're like not singing, obviously we're lip syncing, but my daughter was all in and I couldn't keep it together. So it's like a fun one. The thing I love about TikTok is I get to be Noelle.ai, but I also get to Seek More Harmony. I get to have a mindful moment series. I get to do what I want. And as I got better at honing what I wanted, my audience got more interested in what I was saying. And so I did eventually stumble upon a topic, which is this one. You'll see my first viral video ever got, almost 500,000 views. And it was all about an artificial intelligence, inherent bias, 15 seconds of like, that's messed up kind of thing. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see that. I think it was partially because it was Obama, partially because this was right and Black Lives Matter. It was charged. And I actually made a decision at that point that I didn't want to create content that was charged for charged sake, which some of you know people do that. And again, as a Lovefluencer, I don't do that. I don't look for numbers. It's kind of cool that it happened, but I don't want people angry, polarized, irritated at the content. I want to help. And if it's not helpful, you walk away, but it doesn't make you angry, right? My opinions, I want to deliver in a way that you can easily dismiss yourself if you're not interested, but it doesn't cause you to be upset. You can't make everyone happy, but that was certainly a huge learning moment. And so as I went through a phase where some of these look, I'm right back down to like 150, but then I got into a cadence of building content again, and TikTok likes consistency. So that is true for YouTube as well, which is why I mentioned one video a week. When you're consistent, you'll notice as I started, you'll see all of these are in the same t-shirt, which means they happened all on the same day. And they all got a lot, in my mind, a lot of views. Again, I'm not one going for 32,000 views. I have a very specific niche and a very specific set of people that follow me. And these numbers reflect like the people that engage with me. I will tell you, my highest converting audience, meaning those that actually buy things I'm selling or sign up for things that I'm doing, is my TikTok audience. And so you can kind of see I then pretty much stick or hang out in the 200 area. Some of them hit up to 400, but you'll see these are all these series, right? So people now, they count on me for certain things. Like they're like, oh my gosh, I love your mindful moments, or, oh, I love your AI tip of the day. So that's my encouragement to you, is that if you decide to move to TikTok, first of all, realize no one scrolls down to my early videos anymore, right? I have so many videos. No one goes all the way to a few people, but very few go all the way to the bottom. So just start making videos, even if they're terrible. I would encourage you, keep them public. Let people see you. It doesn't actually matter if they're good or not, because you haven't figured it out yet. And then give yourself time to figure it out. My next huge tip is, I don't know where it is on the web browser version, but in the mobile app, you will see an option to create a professional profile, pro. Go pro. And the reason you want to go pro is because you then get to view the analytics on your post, and you can kind of see, I have different options, content. you can now see what content is doing well, what content is trending, and you can see like how many more views you're getting. What content, oh, I didn't post a video about my thing tonight. But you can see this, right? It gives you the ability to see, right, what your makeup is. Mine has always been 70-30 roughly. I've bounced around about 5% each way. United States, UK, Australia, South Africa. I took a break, so you can see that break showing here. And I encourage you also, even if you start building content, take breaks. And the nice thing is it also says your followers liked this stuff too. And if you know that they like it, you have a choice of whether you want to model it. If it's like morning vibe, feeling good stuff, I might model that. If it's like, 10 bad things that happen to them and they're kind of stuck in the victim side of that story, I'm probably not going to model that, even though it does very well on TikTok. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you the inside scoop. So tips for TikTok: create a couple of series that represent the content types you want to generate. You don't only have to build against that series, but create consistency by posting once a day or a couple times a week against like your series, like mine are mindful moments and AI tip of the day. So people count on you. The second thing is go pro, so you can start to see data about who's listening and watching you. And I was going to mention one more tip if I can remember it. The other one is to create a hashtag. So I'm going to go back here. Let me see if I can search. I don't know if I can search on here. Experience TikTok. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see if it allows me to search. Does it allow me to search? I don't see the ability to search. Do you see search? I don't see it. I think I have to be on my phone. But if you did a search, you would be able to see, I actually can show you on my posts. If you go into any of my posts, you'll see Lovefluencers. And when I tag Lovefluencers, I created that tag. So you can go in and you can search for this tag to see if anyone else has it. And now when you go to this tag, you can see all of the videos I tagged against that. And guess what? It's only me. That's pretty awesome. TikTok is, most platforms are too mature for this. You can't own your own hashtag anymore. Now you kind of can. So I really encourage you to look at that, right? Look at what could you create? What name could you give it? Do a search, see if anyone has it. And if it doesn't, start posting all your content to that hashtag. And that way you could tell someone, oh, you want to see my content on TikTok? You don't have to find me, just hashtag Lovefluencers. And they'll find all your content, which is kind of cool. Okay, let's see if I did everything I wanted to do. Content ideas. I think I did that a little bit. Consistency. I think that's it. So I will be talking a little bit more about this next week as we talk about monetizing your brand. I definitely don't think you should be thinking about monetization from a financial perspective, but there are things you can do to your brand today that will set you up for monetization very quickly. So again, as a Lovefluencer, it's not about the money. I do get you have to eat. And for me, like I'd love to make YouTube videos all day and hang out with my kids or maybe make YouTube videos at night and hang out with my kids all day. But that's not the reality. But what I do want you to know is that you can do things to build a business around this professional brand that you're developing. And if you have a business, here's how you can move your business forward, get more customers, get more leads, more clients through the use of these techniques. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. I know I've been talking to you for like a long time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be posting this on YouTube. And guess what? Yes, I will hone in on the things that are important, cut it up, and be distributing it across social media this week. So thanks so much for watching. I hope, let me let you see my face one more time as we say goodbye. But thank you so much for watching. I think it is just awesome that we are doing this on a weekly basis. So grateful for those of you who choose to stay with me. I do promise you that if you implement some of these things, you will see incredible results because no one told me what to do when I started. And I've just uncovered these things. So you kind of get to leapfrog to where I am right now, as opposed to going through the last 4 or 5 years of me building this from scratch. So I'm super excited. I hope it's helpful. Shoot me a note, drop me some hearts or whatever. Let me know that you like it. And if you have any questions or anything, join the Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/groups/Lovefluencers. So join that group, add your questions, and I will see you all again next week for monetizing your brand. It has been amazing. I think you are awesome. Go out there and be a boss. Like, show up, do something. It's not too late. The week's not over yet. So do one thing to move your brand forward. And I think you're amazing. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.